Fox Sports.
Last night, Bruce Chen befuddled the #1 offense in baseball with a variety of off-speed pitches that range from 68 to 88 miles an hour as the Royals won Game 1 of this important series with the Red Sox 5-1. Now Pedroia and Big Papi will see the 95 heat and snapping slider of the Magic Man, Irvin Santana. It's the Royals and Red Sox next. We expect a great crowd tonight at the K for Game 2 of this 4-game series between the Boston Red Sox and the Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. The Royals have won 16 of 20 since the All-Star break. But 10 days ago, the Boston Red Sox went out and got a guy, Jake Peavy, to stop losing streaks. He is a veteran, tough-minded pitcher. He'll be matched up against one of the very best Kansas City has to offer in Irvin Santana, 8-6. He has won his last 3 decisions. Peavy against Santana, it's going to be terrific. Joining me tonight is Rex Hudler. And, Rex, this is what baseball is about. Friday night, fireworks. You've got Santana, you've got Peavy, and we're looking forward to this.
That's right, Fizz. Let's mention that word, win. When you winning, it cures all, and that's what fun is all about at the ballpark, Fizz, especially for these players. Now, I don't know about you and I. We're always happy to come to the ballpark. But when you're pitching and hitting and defending, it's a beautiful thing. And with Irvin Santana, first year in a Royals uniform, it's been fun to watch him execute. He's even better than he's ever been. He's having a marquee season. It's wonderful to see that breaking ball finish guys off. He did face these Red Sox in Game 1 of that day-night doubleheader back in May, and he beat them. Only gave up 2 first-inning runs, shut them down the rest of the way. Irvin was truly magic. Now, Jake Peavy, he's a guy that's had some difficulties against the Royals. He's only 1-5 here at the K. They're hoping they can keep him down. And he's a guy that talks to himself. He's intense, but the Royals' offense is really good right now. They're getting hits from everybody in that lineup. It's a beautiful thing to see.
And they are getting a lot of help from their defense. Only 7 errors the last month of this season. It's the Royals and the Red Sox. And Joe Goldberg will talk more Royals baseball when we come back.
He has the power and he has the smarts. Turned down Harvard for a baseball scholarship, and it's worked out really well playing ACC baseball and now hitting homers in the big league. Second one for Justin Maxwell since coming over to the Royals. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. Joel Goldberg out here in right field, and Justin Maxwell so far has played in right field for the Royals, but tonight he will get the nod in center field as Lorenzo Cain has the night off. And while we haven't seen him yet in center field, he has spent plenty of time there. 109 games in center in his career out of 171 started in the outfield. Said he's been playing center since he was a kid and in college. And in summer ball, started playing all three positions in AA and AAA. He fits anywhere, and he says fitting in great with this team, loves the chemistry, loves all the guys, and he loves the fact that every single game and every single at-bat literally is important. It is Jake Peavy and taking on Ervin Santana coming up next from Kauffman Stadium.
Lottery. Play the Powerball and Mega Million Scratchers game to win 100 grand or more. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealer, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. This game is brought to you in high definition by Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. Welcome back to the K for the Royals and Red Sox. KC 3-1 versus Boston this year. But John Farrell's Sox are still in first place in the East by 2 games over Tampa Bay. Baltimore 5.5 games back. Here is John's lineup. He will lead things off with Ellsbury, then goes Shane Victorino, who was hitting .405 his previous 9 games before last night's over. Then Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz back in the lineup. His numbers outstanding, .332, 21, and 73. Nava will back him up. Then Napoli, Drew, Santalamacchia, and the rookie Brock Holt. On the hill for the Royals, 30-year-old Ervin Santana going for career win number 105.
Yep, go ahead, Ervin. He's been dealing this year. The walks are down at 34. You know, he's got innings pitched to that ERA. That's really nice. That's good enough for 9th in the league. But I'll tell you what, Ervin Santana's given up 17 home runs. And that might sound like a big number, but it's really not. Ervin last year gave up 39. That's 22 fewer than this year so far, and only 1 home run in his last 5 games. Ervin's been dealing. Defensively, let's talk about Justin Maxwell Smart. He's a smart guy. He's had a 4.0 average when in high school. He's highly intelligent. But look at the outfield arms. He fits right in with Gordon. And also David Lowe's got 4 outfield assists. Gordon's got 9 on the year. It's exciting to see this young man be a big part of this team so early with his arrival. Tremendous defense behind Irvin.
The Royals have won 14 of their last 16 to move 6 games over 500. They won last night by a final of 5-1 as Bruce Chen was outstanding, going 7 2/3 shutout innings. Ellsbury, he has a .300 batting average, 7 home runs, 41 driven in. More importantly, he has scored 71. And that is 6th most in the American League. He floats one to left, but there is Escobar for out number 1. It is another beautiful evening at the K. 75 comfortable degrees. We had rain earlier this afternoon, but the forecast 0% for this ball game.
It's beautiful. And what's also beautiful is that one pitch out for Irvin. He's got a 2-seam sinking fastball. He's got a 4-seamer. He'll run that high and tight when he needs to try to get a swing and a miss out of it. His slider has been his out pitch. It's a beauty. Some are smaller than others. When I say small, I mean by the depth, by the break of it. And he's got a nice changeup.
You saw that he started game 1 of that doubleheader on a Sunday and pitched quite well. He allowed 2 runs in the first inning and none the next 6. No walks, 7 strikeouts in 7 innings. Up the middle, Victorino has a base hit, so he's on for the first time. This is a very good offense, 2nd in the American League in batting, but 1st in runs, 1st in doubles, 1st in triples.
Okay, so Irvin, I can tell already by the first 2 hitters that they're being aggressive on Irvin, because Irvin is a strike thrower. So, in order for Irvin to beat that, he's got to be able to mix all of his pitches. He can't just go out there with fastballs or they're going to touch him up. You mentioned it. This team is really good in almost every area as far as the offense goes. I mean, tops in the majors in runs, walks, doubles, extra base hits, you name it, and they're doing it.
Pedroia is the one member of the Red Sox who has not had much success against Irvin Santana. Just 4 for 23. He is a tough guy to strike out, though. He has actually walked more than he has struck out. 59 walks, 57 strikeouts, and this is an era that is rare.
Yeah, it is rare. But what's a beautiful thing is a contact hitter like that with a runner at first base. He's grounded into 15 double plays this year. That's what Irvin wants, even though Irvin's a fly ball pitcher.
The Royals have turned 82 double plays. Last night in the first inning when Ellsbury got on, Bruce Chen picked him off. Victorino with 14 steals this year. Santana has him down in the count 1-2, and Irvin with 120 strikeouts in 151 in the 3rd innings. He's in the top 15 in that category, along with ERA, fewest walks per 9 innings, total innings pitched. He has been an Iron Man this year for Kansas City, after finishing last year 9-13 for the Angels. But he had arm problems. First half was sensational the last 2 months of the season.
Yep, he's a really good competitor. Loves to compete, loves baseball. He's going to go up there and give you everything he's got every time he takes the field.
Pedroia, now 29 years of age, out of Sacramento. Played his college baseball at Arizona State. Royals pitch out.
That's a good time not to go. So Victorino just said, you know what, I'm not going. I smell a pitch out coming. Kataris this year He's thrown out 5 of 27 would-be base stealers for an 18.5%. Not bad. But not his strength. His strength are walks and homers offensively. But he does a nice job receiving. So Brett Hayes in Qataris has been filling in admirably for Salvador Perez, who's been out with that concussion-like symptoms, but we've been seeing nothing but good things from him.
Are you expecting Victorino to go 3-2 with 1 out?
Yes, especially with a contact hitter like Pedroia. John Farrell, he likes to move him.
He does go, and the pitch is foul down the right field line. This is one tough at bat, and that's why Boston just signed him to an 8-year contract.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. I mean, he's just an all-around player on both sides of the ball.
Runner goes, and again Santana pounds the fastball at 95 on the hands of Dustin.
Irvin might try to find one that he can't hit, and that's been that slider for him.
Last night the Royals shut out the Red Sox the first 8 innings. It's outside, ball 4, and so Boston will have runners on first and second for David Ortiz, who leads the team in RBIs with 73. The Red Sox took 2 of 3 from the Houston Astros in their previous series. In the last 2 games, David Ortiz was absolutely on fire.
And he got the day off yesterday. John Farrell gave him it.
Back-to-back 4-hit games. He had one where he was on base 5 times, and that was the 14th time in his career where he has been on base 5 times in one game. And you think about that, Rex, 14 times is a lot. Do you know how many times Ted Williams reached base 5 times in one game?
How many?
65.
Ah, goodness. One of the greatest ever. Whew. It's amazing.
Ortiz, a former MVP and one of the candidates this year for what he has meant to Boston. Now 37 years of age, out of the Dominican Republic.
Take a little bit of something off it here now. Big Poppy's taking his time, so Irvin says, all right, look, I know you're trying to slow me down. And Irvin has had a very nice tempo to his game this year, which is one of the reasons why his defense performs so well behind him. He gets that ball and he throws it. But he wants to put Big Poppy in the lane. And that's another term in baseball used for a double play. He has grounded into 15 double plays. Him and his buddy Pedroia. Same number. Roll them up.
Out of play, 2-1. That time Santana on a 2-0 count. Usually hitters look for a fastball, but he threw him an off-speed pitch. And he has one of the great sliders in the game.
If you're interested in what he's done against Irvin, there you go. A couple homers. 12 strikeouts.
Runners go. Pitch is swung on and popped a mile high right side. Elliott Johnson in foul territory. It will be Elliott who bangs into David Lowe. Lowe makes the catch.
Boy, I'm going to tell you, I don't remember seeing a ball go up that high where 3 of the fielders over there were battling to who was going to take it. Wow. Now David Lowe, he has priority over all of them, but there it is. That's a small triangle in the foul territory there. Hosmer gave way to it, and then Lowe and stepped on each other. But I think Lowe for a second forgot that Victorino was tagging up at second base. Just wanted to make sure everybody was all right. But Victorino says, you know what? I think I'll just get into scoring position over there at third for a wild pitch or something. There are 2 outs, and that was a big out. Whenever you could catch a foul ball off a Big Papi's bat.
Here is a guy who has been very impressive this year. Not much was expected at the beginning of the season from Daniel Nava, but 10 home runs, 53 RBIs. He had a walk-off home run recently against the Seattle Mariners. And he will crowd that plate. As a matter of fact, he leads the American League in most times being hit by a pitch, 12. Much better from this side of the plate. Down the line and past Hosmer. That will give Boston a 1-0 lead. Pedroia moves to third.
You got to really hit it hard, or it's got to take a bad hop to get it by Hosmer. Okay, he did all he could. It looked like it might have bounced off the lip of the grass, but he couldn't glove it. That's unusual for him. Anyway, that was kind of funky. It got by him.
The Red Sox take the early lead. They did that against Santana back in April. But that's all he allowed them. They scored 2 runs off Santana at Fenway Park in the first inning, and then he smothered the Red Sox offense the next 6 innings. Mike Napoli, always a tough out. 64 RBIs this year. Had a hit last night down the right field line.
Be interesting to see if the Red Sox can keep it up here, because they are 46-9 when scoring first this year. It's the highest win percentage in the majors.
But they are going against the team that has the most comebacks with 34 in the American League. Two balls and 1 strike. They will play Napoli to pull on that infield, and pretty much straight up a shade to the right side in the outfield.
They're setting to form to pull in the infield, although his power is right center.
2-2. He has struck out 148 times this year, and Santana and Napoli know each other well. Matter of fact, Mike used to catch him with the Angels.
See that beard Napoli's been growing that since spring training. A couple of his other buddies, they got together in the spring and they said, hey, look, let's just see how long we can grow him. They hadn't trimmed him all year.
Runner goes, pitch taken. That's ball 4 to Napoli, and now it's the bases loaded for Boston against Santana. So Irvin already throwing 24 pitches in the first inning. We saw John Lester throw 41 for the Red Sox in his first inning when he gave up 3 runs. And now one of the hottest hitters in the Boston lineup coming to the plate in Stephen Drew. Drew with a 10-game hit streak, 15 hits in his last 32 at-bats. So that season average at 253 doesn't tell the whole story of how hot he has been of late.
So Irvin's got to get in there and get ahead. Drew's just 2 for 12 with him loaded up this year. Team overall is at 309 with 4 slams.
He gets the fastball across. It's a 1-1 count. Red Sox already with more wins this year than they had all of last season when they finished with 69, 70 this year. Fouled off. 1-2. Last year, the Red Sox finished 26 games back of the New York Yankees. Now they lead the East by 2 games over Tampa Bay and 11 over the Yanks. New York tonight is hosting Detroit, who's been on fire, winning their last 12. Backed him off.
Yeah, that's a good setup pitch there for maybe a change up down and away, or try to finish him off with a slider. There's always a purpose behind that one up and in.
Ooh, wow. Now it is a 3-2 count, and you've got a very patient hitter in Stephen Drew at the plate.
Yep, they'll all be running 3 and 2, 2 outs. Irvin's got to find a way. And it was a slider that he wanted, but just a little bit out of the zone.
Santana was ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now it's full. Runners move. Grounder, Hosmer took a weird bounce, but he'll win the race to the bag. The Red Sox score just 1, and they leave the bases loaded. Woo. This year, and 3-1 thus far on this homestand. And here's a look at his starting lineup. David Lowe back in the starting lineup. Then Hosmer, Butler, Gordon, Justin Maxwell will make the start and play center field. Mike Moustakas hits right behind him. Escobar, Kataris, and Elliott Johnson. And making his second start for Boston since being acquired from the Chicago White Sox is 32-year-old veteran Jake Peavy.
All right, Jake Peavy, I mentioned earlier in our open, he's just 1-5 in his career here at the K. And he's got a one-run lead. That'll help him some. But he's going to come right after these guys. He's not afraid. He challenges people. 88-94 with his sinking fastball. Curveball, slider, change. He's got the 4 basic pitches. He will drop his arm slot down. It's kind of 3/4 now, but he'll sometimes go all the way sidearm. Has a little bit of deception. But he likes to pitch to contact. He's not a guy who's going to go out there and blow people away like he did early in his career.
Yeah, he had great first 8 years with San Diego, won a Cy Young, won 92 games with the Padres, and the pitch is low, but then all kinds of injury problems. I mean, he has been on the DL 7 times in his career. Forearm, right elbow, ankle, lat, adductor, rib, back injuries. And he came off of that back injury there where he missed more than a month this year. But his last 3 starts since coming off the DL, Rex, have really been good. He's allowed just 8 earned runs in 20 innings. All 3 are victories over Atlanta, Detroit, and Arizona.
Jake Peavy, he likes to talk to himself. And matter of fact, most of the time he's yelling at himself. He's not really talking. He gets a little bit aggressive.
Well, I would imagine there had to be great conversations, pitcher batter, Peavy, when he faced Tejada.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful to see those 2 guys.
Each talking to themselves. Yeah. Off-speed pitch to Lowe, who just did get a piece of it.
Okay, the Kansas City Royals are a secret no longer. They're an aggressive hitting offense. Okay, they don't walk a lot, obviously, but they do hack. But what Pedro Gaffal, the hitting coach, is doing is getting these guys to swing at their pitch. The 4-2 strikes.
Well, you're right about patience, and Boston is the most patient. Boston has walked 135 times more than Kansas City. They've also hit 47 more home runs, so consequently, they've scored 139 more runs. They have scored the most runs in the major leagues. The Royals pitching staff has given up the fewest runs in the American League. Another ball pulled to first. Napoli will take it. 1 out.
All right, defending behind Jake Peavy, I want to show you a real star center fielder. He's really good. Ellsbury, that guy, he can cover some ground. And he's been a very nice offensive player again this year. But here at the K, you talk to him, he'll tell you, I love it out here. A lot of ground to carry, more conventional outfield than what I'm used to playing at Fenway Park.
Hosmer goes after the first pitch, pops it up, foul territory. It will get out of play. Strike 1. Hosmer had that 6-game hit streak end yesterday, but he's still hitting .400 his last 7. That Red Sox fan right there, Hud?
Yeah.
He was outfought by the Royals fan who got the foul ball.
Yeah,
that's the way it should happen.
Yeah.
The little guy with the bag of Cheetos, he's got the Royals jersey and a Red Sox hat on.
That's Hunter Wendelstadt behind home plate. He's in his 15th year behind the dish.
That will be taken care of by Dustin Pedroia. 2 outs.
Okay, he's going to throw a lot of changeups, especially after fastballs. He's mixing his pitches more now than he ever has. Pick a spot out over the plate, and if it's anything like Billy got last night out over the plate, he can make a deposit in center field.
Well, Billy Butler has had more success against Jake Peavy than just about any Royal. Cedes Escobar has had a lot of success as well, including a 2-homer game last year at the K. But Billy, .400 with 3 big flies. And that's back up the middle. So Butler stays hot.
Okay, he's staying right in that same area that he hit that homer, right up the middle. Beautiful. Now, some pitchers are trying to kick at the ball, to stop it. Peavy, I think, said, no, that's going to hurt. So he thought about trying to kick it, but he just moved his foot out of the way. He says, I'm smarter than that now.
Alex Gordon, a terrific career against Boston. .346 with 4 home runs against the Red Sox. lately it's been a bit of a struggle, just 3 hits in 29 at bats, but 2 nights ago he had a home run and a double and a big Royal win as they took their 6th straight series over the Minnesota Twins.
He could easily have 15 hits those 29 at bats. But when you hit the ball right at him, and we ball players call them atom balls, you got nothing to show for it but a little frustration. But you just, that's how you move on from it. Just let that go. Team's winning. Alex is happy.
Peavy has allowed 15 home runs this year, 8 to left-handers. The Royals knocked Peavy around last year. He was 0-3 against Kansas City last year, and Gordon, Butler, and Escobar were combined 14 for 26 last season.
Yeah, and you know, the league's not doing much off of him. 239. Irvin's giving up 227, so there's not a lot of offense in this one here. It's going to be about timely hits.
Trying to get Gordon to chase the off speed, whether it's the breaking ball or the changeup. Butler will be moving on this pitch. And will get out of play as he did not give in. Continue to go with the off speed. Royals have won 3 of 4 against Boston this year, and they have just a 1-game lead in the overall series. KC has won 221, Boston 220.
That's amazing, isn't it? I can't believe that. All the years are playing. Almost an even record. Paxton foul them pitches off. 20 pitch coming.
And he does it again on another. That looked like the cut fastball that he tried to get in on Alex. Well, we saw that pitch thrown so well last night by Bruce Chen, who had Boston completely off their timing.
You know, but I got to credit Lester for doing what he did after that first inning. Lester was tough, and he had a good cutter working as well.
Alex to left field. Playable for Daniel Nava, who makes the catch, and the Royals are done in the first. No runs, a hit, man left. 1-0 Boston going to number 2. For the Red Sox last night, no earned runs in 7 2/3 innings, 5 starts as a Royal. 1.14 ERA is fantastic. He has been as responsible as any starter in this 16-4 stretch since the All-Star break.
Oh man, has he? And watching Joel and Monty's pregame show, which is always fun to do because it's informative and we learn every day. They always get a star of the game on.
And it was the Bruce Chen experience at Worlds of Fun. He even ran into his buddy Aaron Crow and had a picture taken with the family that was able to win the auction item.
Yeah, it's broadcast auction.
And apparently it was like just a lunch with Bruce, and he goes, I don't want to have just a lunch. Let's go have some fun. Let's go to Worlds of Fun. They said, you'll do that? I said, sure. Saltalamacchia grounds out.
No, what a fun guy. Great personality. He gets it, but he really gets it on the mound. And you talk to opposing managers whenever Bruce is getting ready to pitch, and lots of times they'll say, is Bruce back to doing his thing again? 'Cause he's really been something now. Still a meeting there between Moose and Irvin. I think Moose gives Irvin a little chance to catch his breath after covering first.
Number 9 batter Brock Holt, 0 for 3 yesterday and 0 for his last 9. They really believe their future at third base is Will Middlebrooks, but he went through a difficult time, so getting back in the minor league level, and Brock Holt, who usually is a second baseman shortstop, playing third. 2-0. Irvin Santana throwing to George Kataris tonight. Salvador Perez still getting back from the 7-day concussion disabled list. Did go through impact testing today and running, moving side to side. He'll do a bullpen session pretty soon.
Was sitting next to Monty in the Royals dugout way about 4:30 this afternoon, and Salvi came on the field and he was prancing out to stretch with his teammates.
Charging is Escobar. Got him. Nice play by Esky.
He knew he had to get rid of it because that young man, Brock Holt, he can get it down that line. Escobar saying, yeah, you know what? It's a good thing I came in as fast as I did. Got to attack it. Go after it. Throw off that right foot. That's where you get the leverage. Speaking of Salvador prancing on the field, Fizz, he looked happy and he looked back.
Said no headaches.
Yep.
That is a ball shot to center field. So you've got speed on in Ellsbury, and this will be a test for both Santana and George Kataris. But there are a lot of people, Rex, who are very concerned when Salvador Perez, one of the top defensive catchers in the game and an all-star, went on that 7-day DL. And they said, how would the Royals survive? But they are 4-1 without Perez. But when your two catchers are named George and Brett, is success a coincidence? I don't think so.
That's why you're the professor.
Brett Hayes. But now this will be a challenge because Ellsbury 40 stolen bases to lead the American League.
You know, Irvin, his move has gotten better this year. And I'm going to say largely because of the confidence that James Shields shows in his move. And James has picked off a couple of guys. Guthrie's move, Santana's move, Wade Davis's move has all gotten better. So when you talk about the pitching competing against each other internally, which is a good thing, they're also doing the same thing on pickoffs.
Runner goes. Pitch taken. George's throw. Not in time. That is stolen base number 41.
Okay, you got to make him stop. You have to make him stop. He likes to get a majority of his stolen bases walking into it. And that's an easier jump for a guy, for a base runner. You have to stop him, hold the ball long enough, and even hold it an extra step or two, or an extra count or two, so he gets a little bit jittery over there.
85 steals for Boston as a team, and there goes one to left field, and Alex Gordon reaches up at the last moment. He took an interesting route to the baseball, but still had time to adjust and just get it at the end of his glove.
Ooh, I'm telling you, it's a good thing he corrected that route. Ooh, he got it.
Would like to pay special recognition to all of our service members at home and abroad. And tonight at the K, the Royals honored Major Abel Ramos and his service in our armed forces. Thank you.
Yes.
Justin Maxwell will lead things off, and there is Major Ramos. They just had him on the kiss cam, and he gave his wife a big kiss.
That way, Major, thank you. And thanks for coming tonight. Along with this, a lot of other folks wearing all kinds of colors tonight.
I'm sure he was delighted to be here. Justin Maximus deep to left. Gone.
There's the Superman. He's unbelievable. What a stroke. That was powerful. He went opposite field last night in case you didn't think he was strong enough. He says, you know what? I can pull one too, man. And he knew it right away. This guy at 6'5", he gets those arms extended. He can hit a ball a long way. Ties it up. One swing.
6'5", 220. And Rex, last year he had 18 home runs for Houston in only 315 at bats. His challenge this year was just staying healthy. He missed 2 months and 51 games with a broken bone in his left hand. He also had food poisoning, had a concussion. Said it was a rough time, but he finally got healthy right before the trade. Mustak is trying to take one deep, and Moose has been terrific in that department. You see Justin Maxwell, third home run as a Royal.
All right, Maxwell, he said, I like one that's going to go out of the yard. 106. Okay, he's strong. Oh, excuse me, 102. 406 feet on that launch. And that ball, Eric Hosmer will tell you, went to the hydration station. There is only one hydration station out of the 30 teams in baseball, and that's right here at the K.
I love that by Hosmer.
I do too. I think it's,
he gave that to you, what was it, a couple of weeks ago when we were here?
He gave it to me about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And he said, Hud, use it. I said, all right, I'll wait till you go there.
And he did that night.
This guy, I tell you what.
3 home runs in his first 10 at-bats as a Royal. Won the game against the New York Mets last Saturday in the 12th inning. And then a home run last night, a home run tonight. Moustakas with a 2-2 count, and Moose 304 average, 4 home runs and 13 driven in since the break. Off the end of the bat, Victorino will take care of Moose. 1 down.
Okay, Moose had a good at bat. Saw some pitches. Just missed the barrel.
It was July 14th last year where Escobar took PV deep twice. Then PV was a member of the Boston Red Sox, the Chicago White Sox. So sometimes you got to change your socks, though, Hud.
Well, yeah, I think Escobar is wanting to change his fortune, and maybe the fact he's facing PV, who he's homering off of before, hasn't hit one since April 28th. My goodness, Esky. That's a long drought. But in that 905 game hitting streak, he'll take that. He needs to stay right within himself. Shoots the ball to right field. He'll bunt occasionally.
And it seems like he's beginning to come around of late. 7 hits last 4 games. A lot of base hits to right field. And a couple of key ones in that victory over the Minnesota Twins. Both 2 out, 2 strike base hits to right. Each knocked in a run. Fights that one off.
He's also has 20 infield hits, so he can run pretty well, especially when he tops the ball and he's already running out of the box.
Jake's a little upset. He thought that was a little too far off the plate. He wanted a little closer where Santana or Escobar might swing. And then Escobar does his trick. Singles to right field.
I'll tell you what, he does that with the best of them. Breaking balls, very good 2-strike hitter. Watch how he collapses. Backside falls out, but his eyes and head stay right on that ball. It's perfect. That hole right there can make a big league hitter a lot of money, especially if you're a singles, doubles hitter like Escobar. Use that right side, opens it up.
Here is George Gutierrez, and he has an interesting line. He is 5 for 12 against his old team, Boston. 5 hits in his career against the Red Sox. 4 of them are home runs.
Now that's a pretty amazing stat right there.
2-0. Very good running count for Escobar. He is 13 for 13. And the numbers for Saltalamacchia, 78 have tried, and he has only thrown out 19%. The Royals don't hit many home runs, so they may be aggressive right here. He does not go, and George takes ball 3. Well, now you may have him hold.
Could have him hold, or you could give him the green light.
George maybe, but not Escobar. I'm keeping him at first base.
Yeah, not Escobar. I'm talking about George. 3-0 count here. If he gets one right down the middle, he could. Yeah.
The man who cannot be pitched to. I told George that before the ball game, and he was laughing. And it was interesting, Hud, because all of the guys during batting practice were wearing hats that had a big name, their name on it. And Luis Mendoza made those hats for all of the team. And I asked George about it, and he said the only hat that didn't show up was mine. So he was wearing Irvin Santana's hat and Irvin Santana's jersey. It was all courtesy of Luis Mendoza. Good teammate.
Just adding on to more of the fun they're already having when you win.
First walk by Peavy. Elliott Johnson in a bit of a slide. 0 for his last 21. It has been more than a month since he had a base hit back on July 6th. Yep. So you've got to say he's due.
You would hope right here. Now, he hit a ball really well last night when he came in to play defense. He got in that bat late, and it went all the way out to that right field fence. Victorino twisted him around like a pretzel, and he came up with a catch. He's due for a doinker. Anything.
A strike in there. He is down in the count 1-2, and Peavy not going to give him a fastball. And I don't expect him to.
No, and you know, Tejada is not going to play every single game. You got to get him in there, Johnson in there. You know, a lot of that's timing. You know, it's very hard when you don't get regular at bats. It's hard for any kind of batting average. Heck, it can be very frustrating. So what you try to do is try less. Don't try more. Shorten up your swing, put the ball in play, and you're going to eventually find a hole.
Good speed at second in Escobar. Two balls, two strikes. Peavy earned the win in his Red Sox debut as Boston beat Arizona 5-2 at Fenway August 3rd. He gave up 2 runs in 7 innings. Johnson skies it in the air, center field for Ellsbury. 2 outs. By the way, fans, bring the kids to the game this Sunday. It's every family fun day Sunday to enjoy face painters, balloon artists, kids entertainment by Radio Disney's Road Crew, and much more. Sundays at the ballpark is your family destination. Go to Royals.com/Sunday for tickets. Great crowd on hand. Over 30,000 tonight. Game 2 of a 4-game series. We head back to David Lowe. And once again, Peavy's showing you fastball away, and then he'll go off speed away.
You look at that right there. He's in the right place at the right time right now. Can pick up those runners with 2 outs with the best of them.
Cabrera with first place Detroit. They've won 12 in a row. David again knocks it out of play. He's down in the count 0-2. Peavy's next pitch will be his 50th. That is an awful lot for your first 2 innings. The Royals trailing the Cleveland Indians by just a game and a half in the standings, and the Indians are losing 5-2 to the Angels in the 6th inning of that game. The Yankees are up 3-0 on Detroit, trying to end the Tigers' 12-game win streak. That game has Rick Porcello for the Tigers against Ivan Nova. And that was also Alex Rodriguez's return to the Bronx for what I would imagine would be an interesting reception.
Yeah, it would.
I'm sure Joe Goldberg's all over that.
Well, sure. What's even better is that a 3.5 game lead in the wild card over the New York Yankees. It's a beautiful thing.
I've just been told Alex Rodriguez just struck out. There is no joy in Mudville. Two and two. Rex, it is interesting for a team that is as aggressive at the plate as Kansas City. They put themselves into a lot of hitters counts and making a lot of starting pitchers work in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you know what? They're going to tax you. Mainly it's by fouling pitches off.
That's
nice.
Up the middle, and that will find center field. Escobar will break the 1-1 tie.
Like we showed you, when you've got nice numbers like that with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, and you know you have a chance to succeed. You got confidence going up to the plate. He waited Peavy out. That ball was 2-3 inches outside. But that's what you do with a runner in scoring position. You spread the plate out. Very nice piece of hit. I know a lot of hitters are going to take that pitch, but Lowe said, you know what? I still can make some contact with that. Way outside.
Now Eric Hosmer, who hit a soft line drive to Pedroia his first time up. Ball 1. 2 runs in the inning. A 406-foot home run by Justin Maxwell. 2-out RBI single by David Lowe. They're catching on, Hud.
Got that right. She's a Hosmer fan and should be. Every one of them here are.
He has really become one of the most exciting players in the game. You and I were talking with Mike Napoli the other day, and he just loves 35 and the way he plays.
How can you not?
He said you can tell he has a great love for the game. Foul back. Woo-hoo-hoo. Did you see Sultan Lamakia's mask just come flying off?
I saw that, partner. Look at that. That's a ball that has picked up speed. Whenever you foul it off, it picks up speed. Just the same as it does when you square it up and you hit it and we show you the hit speed.
Peavy working Hosmer away. Great pitch. We had a lot of late movement to it.
Yeah, he looked like he's got a little two-seamer working there. But you know, Hunter Wendell-Sat, he's been fairly consistent tonight. He's been calling for both sides. Boy, he just missed that. Just a click.
That was in his wheelhouse.
That was right and up, right where he likes it.
We have seen him hit that 430 before. Katara's at second. Lowe first. 2 out. 2 in.
Fizz, you know what? Just give us a little break here as they're going to talk it over. They're a little worried about Hosmer. But there's no wind at all here at the K. The weather here is California-esque, no question. Mid-70s, but when you drive into this ballpark, it's a beautiful yard, by the way. I have never seen wildflowers like I've seen around the K. It's spectacular, Fizz. There has been times you and I come to the ballpark in the same car, we carpool, and I'll say, Fizz, stop, look at those things. What a beautiful yard that's here at the K.
We did stop. Rex picked some flowers and hand-delivered them to Ned Yost, who was delighted to receive them. A bouquet from the Wonder Dog. In the air, left side. Brock Holt wants it, takes it, but the Royals scored 2. A home run by Maxwell and a base hit by David Lowe.
And the Red Sox, and one common theme with the Red Sox year in and year out is on-base percentage. They lead the majors in on-base percentage. Dustin Pedroia is always in the middle of that, and you look at their roster and their lineup top to bottom, and just about everyone does a good job of getting on base. Talking to the catcher George Kataris about that, who leads the Royals in on-base percentage, he says he learned that when he was with the Red Sox. It's taught from the beginning when guys come up. They learn that when they get up, they need to do the little things. They need to not be afraid to take the walk. And it's instilled in them and preached even in spring training. And he said the one thing about this team and pitching to them for Ervin Santana is they're not necessarily going to sit and wait for the walk. They're still aggressive, so you can't get into mistakes there, as you do see Pedroia swinging. But they will make you throw those strikes. And so a real challenge for pitchers to deal with them. And another guy that's coming up right now, Big Papi. He doesn't look for walks, but a great on-base percentage guy. So up and down the lineup, a lot of pitfalls.
David Ortiz, 51 walks this year. As a team, they're averaging 4. The Royals average 2.4. But success comes in many different colors. I mean, Rex, the Texas Rangers, a very aggressive team through the years. The Angels, under Mickey Hatcher, their hitting instructor for many seasons when they went to 6 straight postseasons. Very aggressive team, didn't walk much. So, and the Royals are a team that is like that.
And you know, Big Papi, he's at 4.11 coming in on base percentage, so he knows the importance of it. Especially, you know, Billy Butler, designated hitters, one-dimensional players in the American League. Their hitting is a science. They have it down. You want the leaders? You got them.
Cabrera at 45%, Mike Trout of the Angels 42%, Ortiz in third, and Billy Butler was right there as well. Ortiz with 11, 20 home run or more seasons. So Santana gets back to a full count, 3-2. Santana, since the All-Star break, has been nails, and our Toyota League leader shows that he has the 3rd lowest ERA to Jared Weaver and Max Scherzer. And Scherzer, what a year. Right now he is the leading candidate for Cy Young at 17-1. Hit well, right field, low back. This game is tied at 2 on the 22nd home run by David Ortiz.
3rd home run he's hit off of Santana in his career now. 22nd overall. Okay, he's looking for the fastball, and he got it. Right there. Middle in. Now he had a pose like he knew he got it. Right down the middle location. Hold his hands in.
Now Daniel Nava, who drove in the first Boston run in the first.
86 mile an hour. It looked like a changeup to me. Thought it was a fastball, but didn't move that much. Just laid out over the middle.
So 22 home runs, 423 in his marvelous career. And because of his postseason success, Rex, I would imagine he is a strong candidate for the Hall of Fame. Not only what he has done during the regular season, but he has ridiculous numbers in postseason. All of those game-winning hits, walk-off home runs.
Sure does. He's just 37. He's got a few more years left. Now, we don't ever rarely see a slider like this from Irvin. Okay, you see the grip on top. We weren't sure what it was, but we knew the velocity was not what it normally is. But this thing either backed up or it just didn't work, because it didn't break hardly at all.
That one did. And he strikes out Nava. That is just Irvin's first strikeout of tonight's ball game.
And like Peavy, Irvin's expended his share of pitches as well. 56 now.
2 outs for Napoli. Mike signing with the Red Sox after several good years with the Texas Rangers, helping them to 2 American League championships. And he comes in on Napoli and hits him in the elbow.
Okay, let's take a look at that replay again. The home run ball. Let's go, excuse me, this one here to Napoli. Gets hit there. Hardly even moved. Just barely grazed him.
But Jeff Montgomery, you threw all 4 pitches, and what went wrong on this breaking ball to Ortiz?
Well, Steve, it was a pitch that we call a get-me-over slider. Last season, Irvin Santana gave up 39 home runs, led the American League, led baseball, and a lot of his issues last year was that slider. He didn't get the finish on it, and we saw that here against David Ortiz. There's a pitch that he had to throw for a strike rather than finishing out of the strike zone off the plate.
It was the 18th home run he has allowed this year. Last year he led the majors with 39 allowed, but most of those came in the first half.
So, Monty, what's the difference when a pitch like this doesn't move very much and a finishing off slider?
Well, one thing, it was a 3-2 count, so he had to throw it for a strike. And when you have to throw it for a strike, it takes a lot of your rate of success away, because you have to throw it in the strike zone. Ideally, when you throw that slider, it's going to be a pitch that's going to finish off the plate. It's going to be under the bat, and that one just was not able to get the same effect because it was on the plate right in the middle.
Stephen Drew grounded out to first his last time up, and he rips one into right field for a base hit. Napoli around second, going to third. First and third for Boston with 2 out. So Drew stays hot. He now has an 11-game hit streak. And George Kottaras will call time and go out and visit with Irvin.
Okay, he squared that ball up. Look at Napoli. Runs pretty well for having a hit problem.
That was early in the season. And as you were telling us yesterday, it really affected his catching, but not his defensive play at first base.
No, and it was a problem. There is none there now. He just had an MRI a couple days ago. Told me everything was clean. They want to make sure to check it out.
Saltalamacchia takes outside. Santana, having thrown 62 pitches, more than he would like to throw in the first 3 innings. He's thrown 20 already this inning to get 2 outs.
When you lead the world in walks, you're going to tax the opposing pitcher's count. You're going to make him throw strikes.
We have seen some sliders that really have terrific torque on them, but some have been rolling up there. Down the line. This will give Boston the lead.
Saltalamacchia quick inside. Second ball hit by Hosmer tonight. Ball, it was on the inner half, but it was elevated up. Good try by Haas. When you're holding a runner on, don't have much reaction time.
Now Brock Holt, who was robbed of a hit, and a fine play by Alcides Escobar and his slow chopper toward short. Esky was able to get him by just a hair at first base. Royals defense has been particularly good in the last couple of months. As a matter of fact, they have only suffered 7 errors in their last 28 games, and more scouts we talked to don't talk about the 58 errors that Kansas City has suffered this year. They talk about their athleticism on defense
and how many runs they've saved their pitchers. That's what they talk about. That's how you win games.
Hosmer has this one, and he'll take it himself. Barely get the sprinting Holt. The Sox do leave 2, but they score a couple of runs to reclaim the lead over the Royals. 3-2. Boston.
It's a foot race. 1 by Hoss.
After coming to Topeka in 1969 to build the Washburn University rowing crew. In 71, Don co-founded Topeka Rowing in order to give kids a safe, drug-free alternative. For the past 46 years, Don has volunteered multiple days a week to provide kids a way to learn and excel in rowing, academics, and life. Throughout his years, Don has coached 48 national medal crews, hosted 3 national championships at Lake Shawnee in Topeka, and officiated the 1984 and 96 Summer Olympic Games, along with many world championships. He is a great guy. Billy Butler up, and Jake Peavy delivers. Ball 1. Billy singled his first time up. Boston scored 1 in the first, 2 in the third. KC got 2 in their second. And we do have tickets available for tomorrow night and Sunday afternoon's games 3 and 4 here at the K. Ground ball short. Drew has it. 1 out. The winner of the Fan Vote T-shirt Tuesday design is this Salvador Perez shirt, presented by Sport Clips, and will be given away to the first 10,000 fans on August 13th. Gates will open at 5:30 when the Royals take on the Marlins, and these T-shirts will go fast. Get your tickets now at Royals.com/T-shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Alex Gordon up. Popped to left field his first time up as Peavy went after him with breaking balls, change-ups, cut fastballs in on his hands. mean, he throws everything. When he came up, though, Hud, he had one of the best sinking fastballs we've ever seen. As a member of the San Diego Padres, he was like death. I mean, so many double plays.
That was a bowling ball sinker.
He went 19-6 in 2007 with a 2.84 ERA.
And if you're a hitter and you hit a ball that's thrown in the low to mid 90s that sinks like that, it feels like you just made contact with a shot put, with a cannonball. I mean, it hurts. It vibrates all the way up your elbows, all the way to your shoulders.
Hud, is that because there's so much sink you usually hit it off the end of the bat?
That's exactly what it is.
Gordon to center field. Ellsbury sprinting. See you later.
Confidence. 12th big fly by Gordon on the line, dead center field over the K at 410. That was beautiful. I mean, that ball was a laser. Short to the ball. Ellsbury ran back all he could. No chance. That was beautiful.
And Rex, it was one of the rare fastballs he has thrown to him in the heart of the plate. Maxwell pops it up. I'm not sure if the shortstop found it. Now he did. Stephen Drew, at first, he was looking up into the twilight, and the color of the clouds is almost the same color as the baseball, and Drew finally discovered the ball and made the catch for the second out.
You really got to concentrate when you, an infielder or an outfielder, that ball's up there, because you can lose it.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Mike Moustakas hopped up to right. First time up. Foul back. He hit one a mile, but foul his first at bat. 10 home runs overall. 13 of those 30 RBIs have come after the break. Rex, I'm just guessing that Peavy was trying to go away and down with Alex with that fastball, because everything he was throwing him, even near the plate, was off speed, breaking ball, and then that was the first fastball he threw him, and as you would say, it was a cookie.
It was a cookie, and it was a mistake. Obviously, he's not trying to do that, but you know what? They're human. Human beings make mistakes, and these guys are excellent with their command. And every once in a while they miss, and when a hitter's waiting for that mistake, that's what they do. And when it was well struck, you have to hit it perfectly to get it out of the yard. I mean, he could have met that ball in the middle. It would have been a base hit up the middle, but he got under it. And Moose is out in front of the breaking ball.
Man, he clubbed that into the club level, and it was still hooking when it was reaching the stands.
I think it's safe to say Moose is back the way he was in his top form last year. He's back.
That's hit well. Jacoby Ellsbury.
Get out.
And he comes down with a terrific catch. Wow, what a play by Ellsbury.
Moose gave it a ride, and just not enough. Tremendous catch there.
What do you like best about the 16-4 second half run? The offense with 12 different players with go-ahead RBIs, starting pitching 12-3, relief pitching 2.03 ERA, 9 saves by Holland, and the defense 7 errors in 20 games. Well, 8 of those saves by Holland, the other by Luke Hochhaber, who got one last night. And now Ellsbury will lead things off.
Okay, I'm going with A, Fizz. In case you couldn't tell by my circle and my star, because they had not had any offense at all like they wanted in the first half. Second half, 12 different players with go-ahead RBIs. Wow. That's a shocker and a much-needed statistic there.
I'm impressed with all 4.
I am too, but, you know, the offense is really what's been special so far in the second half, in my opinion.
Starting pitching has been incredible because what it has done is it has kept them in every single game. And it's allowed Ned Yost to rest that bullpen. And then you have a defense that starters, relievers, they're going to be aggressive knowing that the guys behind them are going to make the plays.
They got skills, Fizz. Man, they're good. They got great range, confidence. It's all about talent. But, you know, the Royals, they're not the only ones that have those kind of skills. I talked about him before the game started in our.
Good to see him healthy again. He was a star at Oregon State, leading them to the College World Series championship. And banged up last year as a member of the Red Sox. Only played in 74 games because of that shoulder injury. The season before, he was second in the American League MVP. Hit .321 in 2011 with 32 home runs, 105 RBIs.
Yep, offensively stays inside the ball, uses the whole field.
Santana does not want to walk this guy. Not after his team tied it up. The home run by Gordon.
No, you two seem fastballing right down the middle and hope he hits it at somebody. No free pass.
Good pitch by Irvin, but fouled off by Jacoby Ellsbury.
Yeah, how about a slider? That was what that was. That was nice. Kept it down. Puts it off the inside of his foot. Instep.
That'll slow you down.
Yeah, but he's got that little strap that goes around his shoe.
But did you see his mouth go ow?
For sure. That didn't feel good.
Up the middle, Santana has it. Gives it to Hosmer. One big out. And that's so important. One of the keys to beating these Boston Red Sox is keeping the leadoff man off base. Rex, Boston has had the leadoff man on base 374 times this year, the most in the major leagues. John Farrell, what a world of difference he has been. Bobby Valentine was the skipper last year, and Boston suffered their worst season in years, 69-93. This year, Farrell has him with 70 wins already. 2-game lead on Tampa Bay.
They had more losses than the Royals had last year.
Royals with 90 defeats. Boston 93. Both teams much improved. Management getting the necessary pieces to help out. Irvin Santana, one of the key acquisitions by Dayton Moore in the offseason, along with re-signing Jeremy Guthrie, the acquisition of Wade Davis and James Shields, Miguel Tejada signing, George Kataris signing, veterans.
Well, you know, I'll never forget the last game of the season here at the K. We had Dayton Moore up. We had Mr. Glass come in the booth, and they talked about upgrading their starting pitching. Going to give Dayton the necessary resources to go out and get some starters that can help this team win. Go with the core players, the young youth they've got. And by the time the new year even rolled around, 4 starting pitchers. Irvin was the first one.
Rex, it was also very interesting what they did with the 5 spot in the rotation. Luis Mendoza, who had a lot of work in the offseason with the WBC Mexico team and also in the Caribbean World Series as Santana strikes out Shane Victorino. And what I'm talking about is Mendoza was ready for the start of the season as we see this strikeout. So they start him. And they figured Bruce Chen, maybe middle of the season, might be the time. Well, it's worked out perfectly because Mendoza began to run out of gas, and that was the time Chen was ready. And he has been unbelievable in his 5 starts. Ground ball up the middle. That will find center field. So Pedroia on with his first base hit of this series.
Well, Dayton Moore and Ned Yost might have had that already premeditated and thought out.
They did.
Okay, but they didn't tell anybody.
No.
They weren't telling us in spring training what they were going to do. They kept it, close to their chest, their vest. They said, look, we don't have to tell everything we know. We'll wait. And so when Ned said, well, I think we're going to give Bruce a start in Mendoza's place.
It's worked out pretty well with Chen with a 1.14 ERA.
Yeah, I would say it has. And I think it's great to the fact that they knew what they wanted to do, their plans, but they didn't have to tell anybody about it.
Ortiz belted a home run his last time up. And what it gave the Royals for the first time in many, many years was 5 starting pitchers with experience, many with playoff experience. Shields had the only World Series win for Tampa Bay when they played the Phils. Runner goes, pitch fouled off.
Okay, talk about mistakes when hitters look for them. There was one right there. It was a slider that didn't break fully. Weren't exactly sure what the pitch was, as a matter of fact, but we had to run it back a couple of times. We saw it, and Big Papi knew. That's what makes these players so special, that they can spot a mistake a mile away.
Upstairs, 1 and 2. Three infielders in the right side, including Elliott Johnson in shallow right.
Yep, they make that pull so drastic that sometimes Ortiz says, you know what, I think I'm going to bunt right here. And what he'll do is he'll take his time and he'll square and he'll just drop a little bunt right down there. He won't try to run out of the box because Moose can't come and field that. Now, he's not going to do it here, but we've seen him do that. Pretty good athlete, as big as he is.
Just barely missing, low and in. Oh, that's a good pitch.
Sure looked good. That's where you want to pitch him. And not an inch higher. If it's an inch higher, that's his wheelhouse.
We saw what he could do an inch higher.
Yeah.
You going fastball slider here?
I'm gonna go change up away here. I haven't seen a lot of change ups from Irvin. See what Kataris calls. Yeah, they're gonna go away. He stayed with the heat. Tried to blow it by him.
He really covers that plate.
Pedroia's got 14 stolen bases this year. He's been caught 5 times.
Base hit right field over the head of Elliott Johnson, who's playing extremely shallow. So Ortiz is 2 for 3 in this game, and Nava will come to the plate. Santana had trouble getting that final out in the 3rd inning.
Now, how about that? He sunk it right between Elliott Johnson and shallow right and low. Good topspin lob.
The 90th pitch coming from Irvin Santana, so he'll be lucky to go 5 tonight. But he has not been able to finish off the Red Sox. He had 2 outs in the 3rd inning, then hit Napoli. A single by Drew, a double by Saltalamacchia gave them the lead. And now it is Nava again, and he singled a drive and a run his first time up. Santana was able to get the first 2 Red Sox out. Ellsbury and a comebacker struck out Victorino. But Pedroia and Ortiz have both singled.
Irvin's last 2 starts at Minnesota and at the New York Mets. Both teams not anything close to the offense of this team here. They'll be patient, they'll be selective, and if you are borderline strikes, they'll foul them off. So that's what they're doing. They're wearing him down. Look at the high pitch counts that they're doing to Irvin here.
I know in 21 of his 22 starts this year, he's got at least 6 innings. The only other start that he did not go 6 was another team that usually attacks you with pitches, the New York Yankees. That was on July 11th. Royals split that series in New York. Kataris sees his batter Nava get hit on the foot, so now the bases will be loaded, and the batter's Mike Napoli.
Well, one of the many good things that's been going on in the last 16 games by the Kansas City Royals pitching, as you see that just got his left toe, is the Royals pitchers that have combined to hold the opponents to a 162 average with runners in scoring position. So they're executing when they have to. And that's one of the reasons that they're able to hold their opponents down by. And they're going to have to here. Irvin is. He knows it's getting late. Dave Island coming out saying, hey, come on, try to keep the ball down. Because he is facing a guy that's homered off him 3 times before. That's Mike Napoli.
That's the 13th time that Daniel Nava has been hit by a pitch this year. And that leads the American League. Francisli Bueno is starting to warm up for Kansas City in their pen, and Napoli is the hitter. He's walked and been hit by a pitch, so on twice.
Got to execute here.
Ball 1. Napoli 1 for his last 19, but even though he hasn't been getting the base hits the last week, he has been walking a lot. One and one. The Red Sox have stranded 6 already. Santana wants to make it 9. Gets away from Kataris. They will not advance as George quick to that baseball.
You know, Pedroia, he would have scored if he thought he could have. And George just missed that one.
So it's a favorable count to a good hitter, Mike Napoli.
Napoli hitting .211 with runners in scoring position. Maybe he hits it at somebody.
Hits it well, center field, backing up. Maxwell, it's over his head and will clear the bases. 6-3 Boston.
All right, left it up out over the middle. That'll be it for Irvin. Tough night for Irvin, and he had through a lot of pitches, and there it was, the mistake. Belled high to Napoli, and I told you before, his power's to right center. No chance for Maxwell. The ball was just hit too far over his head.
He almost was able to get out of it. Unfortunately, all of Boston rallies have been with 2 out. And this uprising started with 2 out. A single, a hit batter, now a double to drive in 3. And here comes Bueno to try and bail out Irvin. This is our Chevy call to the bullpen. It's been earlier than we've seen of late. Power. Maxwell belted one. Ortiz knocked one out. Alex Gordon a home run. But those were solos. Napoli's double was with the bases loaded and made it 6-3. Francisco Bueno coming up from Omaha. Those are his career numbers. He really played well for the Royals last year when he was called up from the minor leagues and was pitching extremely well for the Storm Chasers when he was called up this time. That ball popped a mile high on the infield. Kataris will make the catch. Inning is over, but one batter too late. Napoli bases clearing double makes it 6-3 Boston. And their Baking a Difference charity concert featuring the Eli Young Band on October 3rd. Go to baconadifference.com. I wonder if Miss Piggy will make an appearance at that conference. At that concert, crescent moon we have tonight. Beautiful evening in Kansas City. Beautiful evening for a comeback, Hud.
However you like your bacon. It's a beautiful thing, but they got to come on back. Plenty of time in this game. Get some base runners on. Get them on, get them over, get them in. A bloop and a blast.
Escobar did that his last time up with a single and scored on David Lowe's base hit. Royals with 3 runs on 5 hits. Red Sox with 6 on 9, all off Santana, as he had his shortest outing of the year. He got knocked out in the 4th. Peavy also has thrown a lot of pitches. That was number 76. Escobar had a rough trip. Just 4 hits, but 8 hits already on this homestand. And that goes off the glove, picked off by Pedroia. Just does get Escobar on a play that goes 1-4-3. Kataris was able to walk his first time up. 22nd walk this year in just 96 plate appearances. Ball 1. Peavy shouts out again, why can't I throw a strike to this guy? Denny Matthews thinks it's hilarious. There's a strike. When I'm doing radio, Denny will look at me and just shake his head and say, why can't anybody throw him a strike? 2-1.
No, he only swings unless it's his
There's
pitch.
Den with Ryan Lefevre. Denny's got the look. He's got his arms. Hey, just did get him a strike. It's a 2-2 count. Three and 2. Let's go to Joel.
Well, the guys had some special hats for batting practice today made by the wife of Luis Mendoza, Monica, and she had all these hats and it had their names on them as, well, no walk this time, but it's a nice effort and a nice job. The players, I asked, are you going to wear these on a regular basis? And they said, well, we'll see. It depends on how we do tonight. And that there would not be Irvin Santana, but I guess she forgot the Kataris hat. So he wore the Santana hat, and then he also had Santana's jersey on. So for anybody that was here watching Santana taking batting practice, well, it was actually George Kataris. There's Escobar with his stylish hat, and I pointed out that maybe, you know, since Canada, I believe, beat Mexico in the World Baseball Classic, it was just backlash against Kataris' country.
Oh, my. Elliott Johnson tries to drop one to left, but it will be caught by Daniel Nava. So 3 up, 3 down in the 4th inning for Kansas City. But you don't play for the name on the front of your hat, Hud. You play for the name on the front of that jersey.
Yeah, but it's all fun during BP.
the game break takes us to Cleveland. Been visiting there a lot lately. In Detroit, they're happy they're finally out of town. And the Angels come in and pick up where the Tigers left off. Josh Hamilton going deep for his 17th. That was a 5-0 lead in that one. It's down now to 5-2.
Thank you very much, Joel. We'll get back to you with the scores later. We understand that Minnesota knocked off the White Sox in other American League Central play today 7-5, and they're playing game 2 of that doubleheader 1-1 in the 6th. Here is Saltalamacchia. Doubled in a run his last time up. And knocks one into left field. That will be the 10th hit of the game for Boston.
Saltalamacchia, switch hitting catcher, gets one from the right side. Bueno, fastball, slider, curveball are his pitches at 5'11", 200.
And come out to Beers of the K, taking place at Rivals Bar on Friday, August 23rd from 5:30 to 7. You can purchase hard-to-find options and local favorites, including selections from Boulevard and Leinenkugel. Brewers will be on hand to answer questions, plus the first 500 people into Rivals will receive a Royals tasting glass. Bunt try by Holt. Now, entry into Rivals is free, but you must be 21 or over. For the full list of beers and to purchase tickets for the game, just go to Royals.com/Beers of the K. Brewers will be on hand, Rex, to answer questions. If you had a question for a brewer, what would you ask him?
When are you serving?
Okay.
Serve it up.
Good question. Brock Holt 0 for 2.
But Francisco Bueno does not want to serve anything up here. You can't give him any more.
Keep her down.
That's right.
See if you can get 2 outs on 1 pitch. That's why Holt trying to bunt, but now he is behind 1 and 2, and he's hitting 9th. His job, do the little things, and the last 2 times he squared, did not.
And he wasn't happy about it.
This is unlike Kansas City. I mean, their pitching has been so good. They're one of 4 teams with an ERA under 3 in the second half. Detroit's been unbelievable at 2.1. The Dodgers at 2.26 and the Royals at 2.3. Holt fights it off. Holt, very good hitter in the minor leagues, a career .310 average. He's 25 years old, out of Fort Worth, Texas. Drafted by Pittsburgh, but acquired by the Red Sox in a deal that sent Melanson to Pittsburgh, who's become their closer. In the air, center field, 1 out. Now Bueno will face a guy awfully tough to double, Jacoby Ellsbury. Although he has grounded into 10 double plays this year.
He'll take it.
With his speed, batting from the left side. Infielders must be quick. Corners are in. Hosmer holding the runner, and Moose almost on the cut of the infield grass. See the outfield straight up for Ellsbury.
Yep. Justin Maxwell in center field for the first time. Ed Yost said that the kid's power is intriguing before the game. And he answered again with a nice solo shot.
Second base, Johnson goes second 1. Escobar, no, not in time. He would have been safe anyway.
Okay, get that first out. Escobar cleared himself pretty well. Saltalamacchia came after him. He's able to clear himself. Ellsbury way by the back. Hosmer, wow, how come that ball didn't stay in my glove?
Victorino singled and scored the first run for Boston, lined hard to left, caught by Gordon in the second, and struck out swinging his last time up.
Okay, look at that glove right there. You can see there's some new strings in it. Okay, when you catch that many balls every night you're at first base involved in most of the plays, you better make sure your strings are intact, because sometimes the strings will wear down and that could cost you by missing a ball and even a game. So if you're an infielder, you're always checking the leather on your gamer. Now, he's not going to bring that out during batting practice, okay? You're not going to use your game glove during BP. You always have a side glove, maybe 2 or 3 different gloves you'll take out there. Sometimes you just take a little infielder's glove. You don't even worry about that. But that gamer is precious. That's your baby. And I talk to him about his glove all the time, and he tells me he's constantly checking it and restringing it when he needs to. You know, there was nothing wrong with the strings there. He just didn't close it down in time where it didn't cost anything.
Ellsbury was already by the bag. And the pitch is high. 2 balls and no strikes to Shane Victorino. Leadoff single by Saltalamacchia to start this 5th inning, but Holt flied out. Ellsbury then replaced Saltalamacchia. And now he is a threat to go. He of 41 stolen bases. Three and 0. Boy, it has been tough to close them out. The Royals have been able to get to 2 outs, but all 6 runs have scored for Boston with 2 out. The last 3 runs they scored started with 2 out and nobody on in that 4th inning. And a single by Pedroia, a single by Ortiz. Nabu's hit by a pitch to load the bases, and Napoli cleared them to break the 3-3 tie. To third. Moose gets the force there. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Royals trail by 3. Top of the order coming up. By Panera Bread. Try pasta the Panera way. Live cautiously, eat deliciously. And by Ford. See the new F-150 at your Midwest Ford dealer today. And by ATT Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. David Lowe will lead things off. Jake Peavy delivers and Lowe pops it up. Right side. Napoli wants it and takes it for the first out. Parents, sign your kids up for Slugger's Blue Crew, brought to you by the Learning Quest 529 Education Savings Program. Members receive a great batting practice jersey, Royals hat, blue wristbands, ticket vouchers, priority access for the Sunday Fun Run, and much more. Membership is just $25. Be a part of the fun by joining at royals.com/Blue Crew. Hosmer looking for his first hit. He is 0 for 6 in this series. And he lashes this one to center field.
It's like he knew that was coming. Outer half. Boy, very little head movement at all. Love how he's keeping his body still. That front foot up of his is really making a difference in his second half surge. Keeping his front side closed and that step from being too long. Head's not moving, great balance.
Butler takes strike one. Ruby De La Rosa decided to go first pitch fastball about 96 miles an hour to Butler last night in the ninth inning, and he launched one, although Peavy placed this sinking fastball in a perfect location to jump in front 0-2. One ball, two strikes. Billy knows he's trying to keep it down and get him on a double play. Both starting pitchers threw a ton. Santana over 90, taken out after 3 2/3. And Billy lines one to left, so 2 on with 1 out, and Alex Gordon represents the tying run.
Okay, nice multi-hit game there for Billy. A couple singles, one up the middle, and that top spin lob to left. Staying on the ball. Okay, Alex Gordon, in case you want to know what he did last time up, we'll show you. Oh, I mean, hit that ball right where it was pitched, down the middle, to the middle, over the middle. Out of here. Beautiful stroke.
Number 11 for Gordon. RBI number 59 now leads the club by 1 over Butler. And Alex thinking Jake taking way too much time.
Yeah, he was. Alex doesn't have to do it again, although he'd love to if he can get a pitch. He's got a beautiful uppercut swing working now. Hasn't worked as far as hits go. He's not getting a lot of hits because they're catching him. But he's got that stroke.
How about that? They do get Hosmer. Why he was not closer to the bag, I don't know. But the result is an inning-ending line-out double play. mistake by Eric Hosmer here, Hud.
Yeah, watch him at the top of your screen now. He takes 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and then he locks it up, and Napoli said, you know what? He got too far off. I'm going to get him. I haven't seen too many base running mistakes. I'll just give you a little different look at him. Okay, on contact, they tell you to freeze on a liner. Okay, he froze, but then he said, oops, took too many steps, traveled.
Pedroia will lead things off, and he sends one high in the air, playable for low, 1 out. This is where Bueno can really help his cause, because he's trying to rest the bullpen after Santana only gave his team 3 2/3 innings. And Bueno made 31 appearances and 1 start with Omaha, going 3-3 with a 2.93 earned run average, but he was really good in the last few weeks, going 2-0 with an 0.87 ERA and 10 1/3 innings.
Yeah, you get hot like that if you're a pitcher, you can get the call too.
And he did.
Yeah, and you have a chance to really impress your manager in a situation like this. I mean, this is a great opportunity for him. He's doing well so far. He just wants to continue to keep them off the base and keep them away from scoring runs.
Hosmer gives it up to Bueno. And fans, be sure to take advantage of the 4 for $44 deal from the Royals and Taco Bell. You get 4 tickets to a game, 4 special edition Royals hats, and 4 Taco Bell Doritos Locos Tacos Supreme coupons, all for $44 plus tax. This package is good for any Royals home game while supplies last. Get your tickets at the Kauffman Stadium box office or by going to royals.com/Taco Bell.
And you get a ticket to the game too for that.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, you can't get a better deal than that anywhere. You go to a movie Fizz with your family.
Ooh, popcorn.
You better save your money. It's going to cost you over $100.
Have you ever been known to sneak in your own popcorn?
No. Come on, Fizz. I'm a little surprised if you do that. Did you do that ever?
No, my wife does it though.
Oh, now
she loves popcorn.
Throwing her under the bus now.
A little Parmesan cheese, a little olive oil. It's good. Here is Daniel Nava. Rex, we were talking about Bueno, and with Wade Davis still on the bereavement list after his stepbrother's passing earlier last week. The funeral was on Wednesday. The Royals have been able to use Omaha. Will Smith, Danny Duffy, Francisco Bueno have all been able to come down from Omaha to help the team out.
Yeah, and hopefully Wade Davis will be back to make his next start.
Our thoughts and prayers have been with Wade and his family during this very difficult time. Escobar. Another 1-2-3 inning for Francisco Bueno. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Royals need 3 to tie. Two long balls by KC. Justin Maxwell belted one 406 feet.
That was his 4th of the year, and it was a bomb, too. And Gordon, man, he said, you know what? I'll go dead center on you. Oh, that was just nice. Now, there's plenty of time left. Get a couple of guys on and see that again. We're back in it. And it's possible.
Justin had his first multi-home run game at Florida in 2009 with solo shots off Anibal Sanchez and Matt Lindstrom. Fouls this one off in the 6th inning is our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Cecil Riddle from Olathe. The Royals hit a home run in this inning. Cecil will win $400, but if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Cecil will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. To left field. Justin Rex, a great story. As you see this big, strong guy from Bethesda, Maryland, you were talking about having a chance to go to Harvard, but choosing Maryland. His dad, Austin, a Navy captain. His mom, Kathy, a Navy commander. Both retired, but his dad went into private practice and dentistry and served not only members of the military, but 2 former presidents.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. He's had a great upbringing.
He said the Ivy League was interesting, but he said he knew they'd play better baseball, and he was in love with the game, and Maryland in the ACC at the time. He was all ACC and voted best defensive player in that conference when he was there.
You know, he was a 4.0 in high school.
Peavy right at 100 pitches. Boston has their bullpen working. The most home runs that Jake has ever allowed in a game is 4. And that happened twice. The last time it happened was 2008, 5 years ago. He has given up 3 this year, twice. Once to Detroit.
Fans aren't real happy with Peavy throwing over there to Maxwell.
Loop to left, base hit. Maxwell turns second. The throw to third is not in time.
Okay, there's some nice aggressive Royals base running. That's what these fans are coming to love. They are aggressive, they pressure defenses, and there was not a doubt in Maxwell's mind that he wasn't going to go to third base. He just went and Nava, he did the right thing. He hit the cutoff man. You don't want to try to throw that runner out there. You got a 3-run lead. Keep the double play in order. Got him cut that base. Nice frame at 6'5". He can move it. And remember, Maxwell last year was voted best defensive outfielder by the Astros. So this guy, he's playing center field, but he can play left, right, center, anywhere out there. He's impressive. It's nice to see Moose going the other way for a base hit.
And they have Britton, the left-hander, warming in the bullpen. And you can get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Peavy is topped out at 92. The most pitches he has thrown this year, 118. That came in his last start. Foul.
Escobar is starting to hit the ball with a little more consistency. If he can just go to right field again, keep this train rolling, get this crowd woken back up again, and start a rally. It's already started. Keep it going. Peavy's at the end of his night.
You have a lefty, Kataris, to follow, and then the switch hitting Elliott Johnson. The Royals do have a lefty, Dyson, coming off the bench, and 3 right-handers in Kane, Hayes, and Tejada available.
Time for a parting gift.
Escobar got him twice in one game last year. And he slashes this one to right. Maxwell will score. Here comes John Farrell.
And there's the parting gift. Beautiful job by Escobar. Lob shot out to right field. That'll do the job. Nobody out. Action coming. Okay, he went up in the zone. Escobar, who's been red hot going to the opposite field, just waited till the ball got right on top of him and threw his hands, stayed on top. Another ribby for Escobar, his 40th.
Your #1 mobile app for live baseball. The At Bat app delivers Royals baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, breaking news, and video highlights. So download At Bat now on your app store or text At Bat to 31826. The new pitcher will be Drake Britton, a young man who started the year in Double-A and was an Eastern League All-Star. Cesar Chevy called to the bullpen. He was 7-6 as a starter at Double-A Portland, was promoted to Pawtucket on July 5th, and then promoted to the big leagues on July 20th. So he has had an amazing last month plus.
He's got his hands full here, though. Kataris is looking to do one thing, and that's that pitch he likes right out of the middle of the plate. Pull it. You'll see some breaking balls fading away from him.
Strike one.
Got a fastball he'll mix in there. Some changeups to righties. Wants to really sweep the breaking ball away from Kataris.
We told you earlier, Kataris with 5 hits against Boston in his career, 4 are home runs. One ball, 1 strike. 7 of his 8 appearances for the Red Sox have been scoreless. He earned his first major league win with 2 scoreless innings in the Sox 15-inning victory on July 31st against Seattle.
George has just 1 hit against the lefty this year. He's 1 for 13. So chances aren't real good, but you never know.
2 balls and 1 strike. Does it say how many walks he has against lefties?
George Kataris. It does. He has 3. That hit was a double, though.
Now he's going to get a pitch to his liking.
Got to come in there. He's got a sinker. He wants to keep it down. George, he can jump you in a heartbeat. 1 quick swing.
Takes a strike.
He wanted to see one. To see what it looked like, that straight one. Like it had a little bit of a sink to it. A 2-seam run.
Ball 4. Kataris has done it again. The bases are loaded for the Royals with nobody out.
Ball 4, hey. He's a machine, Fizz.
Miguel Tejada has come out to pinch hit for Elliott Johnson. And Boston did not have a right-hander warming in their pen.
Miguel, he's 3 for 10 as a pinch hitter. The fans love him here. Got a chance to get right back in this with 1 good swing. And he knows something about hitting with the bases loaded. Only 12 grand slams. Now, he's going to be looking for something up for sure. For pinch hitters, though, it's a very difficult job. You want to get a swing in as soon as you can, so you can gauge your swing on his pitch. Sometimes that first pitch is the best one.
He takes a rip. A reminder, this is our Sonic Slam inning. July 4th, Lorenzo Cain hit a grand slam to give a young lady in Overland Park $25,000. Cecil Riddle from Olathe, Kansas is on the edge of his seat.
I think he'd be happy with the lousy single, although he'll take the slam.
You bet he will. Popped up. One big out.
Okay, he stayed down with that fastball on the outer half. He didn't want to make a mistake, so it really is 2 good pitches to Tejada. A slider first pitch. Tejada was on it. He just missed it. And then the second pitch was very well located down and away from it.
And now it is the lefty-lefty matchup that John Farrell favors. Although David Lowe has been clutch this year, 24 RBIs, 1 tonight. Royals had a golden opportunity in the 5th, 2 on 1 out. but Gordon lined into a 3-6 double play.
He's extremely confident. Is David Lowe hitting against lefties? He's hitting .292. Couple of homers. You pitch him inside, he might can hurt you.
Two and 0. Bases full for the Royals. Moustakas third, Escobar second, Kataris first.
Got to be yours.
2 and 1.
Okay, there it was. This is a nice average fastball. Go ahead and look for one of those again. Or if he leaves you that breaking ball up, go with it to left field. Pull it. Anything to get one in the air, you got to get a run home here. Get over his head.
Tagging is Moustakas, and he's coming home. He will score. He worked around the tag by Saltalamacchia to make it 6-5. And Moose had a tough time going back to third, as he didn't think Victorino was going to make the catch. But it's a sac fly by Lowe. The Royals within 1.
And I thought that Victorino misplayed that is because David Lowe, he attacked that. He tommyhawked it. I thought it was getting over his head. Victorino did too at first, and he slipped. And Moose, he thought the same thing, and so he was late on the tag, but he got down just in time to avoid the tag of Saltalamacchia. Now look at that. Good call by Hunter Wendelstedt. Home plate umpire was right on that call. As we'll see from this angle, never touched him. Way to get down, Moose. Boy, that salvaged the inning right there. 2 outs, and Hosmer with a chance to add on a couple more.
Both runners advanced. Escobar to third, Kataris to second. Breaking ball, ball 1.
Man, I'm telling you, Victorino, he wasn't sure. And on a ball like that, that's the hardest ball for an outfielder. A line shot with topspin coming right over your head. It came down just in time. Moose with an excellent slide at home plate.
Finally, a right-hander up in the Boston bullpen.
Hosmer hit .317. He's no slouch against left-handers either, with 3 homers. 2-0 count. This young man here, Britton, he is falling behind and living dangerously. I don't know if he'll get that same fastball that David Lowe got 2-0, but Hosmer got to be waiting for it.
In there, 2 and 1. Pedro Beato was the right-hander warming up in the Boston bullpen, but the Royals have climbed to within 1 of the Red Sox. The Royals, as you know, 34 come from behind victories this year.
But he threw back-to-back fastballs to Lowe. See if he does it to Hosmer. Took a nice pitch, 2-0. Got to be ready.
He takes a rip at a breaking ball. With first base open, he has more options than he did earlier.
Yeah, that 2-0 was the one. But that's all right. He's still got some life left. But I don't think he's going to give Hosmer anything decent. He's going to do that little slider that he just did. But you got to be waiting for anything out over.
Base hit left field. Escobar scores. Here comes Kataris. Throw to the plate. Not in time. Royals lead by 1.
Wow, talk about 2-strike hitting. That is a perfect example of how you shorten up your stroke and just hit it to the opposite field hole. What a technique. Beautiful job. The Royals refuse to go home. That ball's a foot outside and down. Hosmer said, I got arms. I can reach that. And you're paying me to pull? Shame on you. I'm going to pick up 2 more steaks. Yeah. Qatar says, you know what? I haven't been dirty all game. I need to get me a slide. Look at that stroke. That is some kind of beautiful. Look at him. He's already signaling his buddies. Take that. And he advances on the throw, which was a mistake by Nava. Yep, there you go. Way to go, Haas.
And if you would like to understand what Rex Hudler just said, go to ispeakhud.com.
How about wins? That's it. Just win, baby.
Well, Sprint goes with you. Our fans say Rex Hudler going with the offense. 49% of our fans say the offense has been outstanding. And here in the 6th inning, look at this.
Yeah, just a beautiful onslaught of singles. They'll take them all day long. This is how they win their game. They do it frenzy style. Now Moose with a great slide. Hosmer, that was the most beautiful stroke we've seen in a long time. Just a lousy single. Played it 2 runs, man. Really nice to see. Keep it going.
Billy Butler with first base open, but a right-hander. Pedro Beato is the pitcher, and Billy swings and knocks it to left field. This will score Hosmer. Royals 8, Red Sox 6. Billy to second. Save!
Billy Butler said, you know what? I'm going to cash in, and I'm not going to wait around either. I'll take the first pitch. The Royals fans are still on their feet here and amazed at how this team continues to push and never give up. And push, push, push. Billy says, Beto, I got you, man. Oh, yeah, just a lousy single. And, folks, you can win games by getting singles. Believe me, we're watching it.
Here's Alex Gordon. Alex has homered in 3 trips to the plate. That was a long shot to dead center field, 415 feet.
Really legged that out. I loved it. Turn that single into a double.
Once again, it is everybody involved. 1 through 8 in this game have either scored a run or driven in a run. You can hear that chant, that familiar chant we're hearing more and more at the K. Let's go Royals. Inside, 2-1.
They just continue to believe. And with the comeback wins like that, that's exactly what that characteristic has developed. We talked about it early in the season when they started to roll a little bit in April. They shut down in May, they came back in June, but they've always been coming back. They never seem to quit. And that's the beauty of the team. That's the fun of watching them this year. One of the many things. But since the offense has come around, they are really starting to pass the baton from the hitter to the hitter, and different guys in different places. It's been really fun to see.
First base is open. The right-hander is on deck. Beato might pitch around Gordon. He does as Alex walks. So the Royals will bat around in this inning. They will send their 10th man to the plate as they've scored 5 times already in the 6th. And the man who started the rally, Justin Maxwell, with a base hit to left field, steps to the plate with 2 out and 2 on.
Time for a meeting on the mound, and I mean everyone. They're all stacked up there. They're going to say, how can we contain these guys? Now be careful, he's saying, Nieves. He's saying, this guy, do not let him get his arms extended. He can rake, he can drive in runs. And John Farrell, he knows that the Royals, when they score 4 more runs this year, they're tough to beat. They're 44-9 in those games where they score over 4 runs.
These fans locked in. I mean, they are enjoying it. This was a team that did not play well going to the All-Star break. It lost 5 straight games, but they collectively got together, had that workout one day before the second half started, and bam, came out on fire. Maxwell slams that one into foul territory. 16 wins, only 4 losses to get right back in the playoff chase. They started the night 4.5 games back up Tampa, Oakland, and Texas in the wild card race.
Beto, he's got a fastball, he's got a sinker, you know, he's going to 4-seam it. Beato liking that 2-seam run. Change up, curveball.
Two balls and 1 strike. The Royals hitters have really put themselves in hitters' count. And when George Brett took over, along with Pedro Grifol, their theme was get yourself a positive count and be ready to fire on your pitch, your zone. 8 runs, 12 hits tonight. 3-1 to Maxwell.
Yeah, beautiful thing. They're waiting about Maxwell. He's in no hurry. He's saying, you got to come to me. The pressure's on you, not me. I'm going to get my pitch. And there's not a field at the K that can hold him. There's not any field, left, right, or center. We are still in the Sonic Slam inning, too.
Yes, we are.
Challenging.
Took a big rip at an 83. How about that? He was looking dead red, and he didn't get it.
Put a little wrinkle on that one, didn't he? That's why you put a wrinkle on it. Got a big guy like that standing up there waiting for that fastball. You better change speeds.
Justin Maxwell might be saying if he's going to throw that on 3-1, he'll throw it on 3-2.
That's right. Still have to look for the fastball, though. You got to be able to get that one. And then you adjust if it's hittable.
Base hit. Butler will score. 9-6 Royals.
Maxwell Smart keeps him rolling. Again, second time he's found that same hole. And 30,000 people that came to the K here are ecstatic. They're on their feet. Hearing the roar is beautiful. That's exactly what these players want to hear. They need to hear the crowd. Folks, you want to get behind these guys? Help push them to a postseason berth. You never know. It's fun. This is not early in the season. These guys believe they can win.
Justin Maxwell, absolutely incredible with 8 hits in 16 at-bats with the Royals. He was acquired 9 days ago, right before the trade deadline. He has already earned his keep.
Oh, man, what an acquisition. Great job, Dayton Moore and company.
Well, we were always wondering what would happen when the offense began to click. It seems like they're clicking. They have been relentless in this inning. They were down by 3 entering the bottom of the 6th. Now they lead by 3, going 5 for 9 with runners in scoring position.
Moose hit in this inning about 20 minutes ago.
You know what the biggest at bat was? David Lowe's sacrifice fly. That was almost an inning-ending double play. But Moose made the great slide. And he pops it up here. Dustin Pedroia makes the catch, but what an inning for the Royals. And listen to this crowd as KC scores 6 runs in the 6th. Is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local Dodge dealer today. The fans at the K have been absolutely fantastic, responding quite well in a 6-run 6th inning as Kansas City went from 3 down to 3 up, and the new pitcher will be Kelvin Herrera, pitching in his 40th game this year.
All right, Kelvin, you get strike 1 in there with that 100-mile-an-hour fastball, that changeup, a nice breaking ball. Been doing a nice job lately. Confidence is there, but you are facing a very strong offense, and this is not over, so don't back off.
Miguel Tejada stays in the game as he pinch hit for Elliott Johnson. So it will be Hosmer at first, Tejada second, Escobar short, Moustakas third, and the outfield the same. Gordon, Maxwell, Lowe, Kataris catching. Mike Napoli had the big hit for Boston. It was a 3-3 game when the bases were loaded, and he cleared him with a ringing double to center field.
That's nice to see him up there with nobody on.
Indeed. He had driven in 67.
Fastball's what you want to give him. Off-speed pitches, you got to be careful because he's so good at going to the opposite field like he did with his double with them loaded. Fizz just talked about. So I'm going to stay firm with it. He's an excellent low ball hitter on off-speed pitches. Fizz, you and I watched him take Justin Verlander deep in his first major league at-bat, Mike Napoli, in Tiger Stadium, or Comerica Park.
The bigger stadium.
Yeah, it was Comerica. And it was a slider. It was a breaking ball down on a 3-2 count. You don't throw him no breaking balls down there.
He does get a breaking ball across for a 2-2 count. It's a final in Cleveland. The Indians have lost. The Royals win this game. They would be within a half game of second place in the American League Central. And that was the team they struggled so badly with right before the break. Cleveland was playing great. The Royals were not. They were swept in the 3-game series, but they were able to wash it away, Hud, and begin the second half on fire, taking 2 of 3 from Detroit, 3 of 4 from Baltimore. 2 very good teams.
They weren't sure which identity they were. They didn't know who they were. Are we really this good or not? And then it clicked. After the break, they said, yeah, you know what? It's our time. Let's go.
To center field. That's a base hit for Napoli.
Yeah, there was the off-speed pitch.
And if you take a look back at the post-All-Star break, it was really the continued brilliance of the starting pitching along with defense where you're going, oh my gosh, they're in every single game. And then when they made the hits, they mattered tremendously.
What I tell you about those off-speed pitches down like that?
You're right.
He was on him, but you know what though? It didn't hurt him. It's his lousy single. Let's see if he can do something with Drew here.
Ned Yost knows if his bullpen is going to be a complete success, they need Kelvin Herrera. He was tremendous last year, has been up and down this year. Last year, Herrera pitched in 76 games. Had a very low 2.35 ERA, 77 strikeouts, only 21 walks in 84 1/3 innings. But there was another key statistic. Only 4 home runs allowed in 76 games. This year, he has already allowed 9.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, this bullpen here, it's the best in the American League for sure.
2.80. The Angels over Cleveland 5-2. Minnesota took the White Sox 7-5. New York leading Detroit 3-1 in the 9th. Swing and a miss, and down goes Drew.
Okay, that's what you got. A bunch of scud throwers. Guys that can throw hard at the end and get strikeouts. Herrera is blessed with a natural, hard-throwing right arm. And I asked him, where's that come from? You're not all that big. He says, I'm telling you, it's genetics. But he's learned how to work his craft. He's working on getting that breaking ball over and keeping it down to mix in to keep those guys off of his fastball. As you mentioned all those homers, Fizz, that's what they were doing. This year they were sitting on that fastball. They were ready. Second time through the league after your rookie year, they're waiting for you. And that's exactly what happened to him.
This game all about adjustments.
You got to have something to get him off of that blazing fastball, and he does have that changeup, but the third pitch is important.
That's why they sent him down to the minor leagues, had him start so he could get not just 1 inning but 3 innings in and work on that breaking ball along with the fastball and change. High in the air. Missed the pitch because it was the off-speed pitch. And Saltalamacchia out in front only can pop it up. 2 outs. Time for our AT&T trivia question. Who are the only 4 players with more career home runs for the Red Sox than David Ortiz? Well, Teddy Ballgame is one.
How about Jim Rice?
How about Yaz?
Yes.
One ball, 1 strike. Ortiz with 422 home runs coming into tonight, and he belted number 423. Right field, Lowe has it played. Good inning by Kelvin Herrera. A shutout 7th. Players with more career home runs for the Red Sox than David Ortiz, and the answer is Ted Williams, Carl Yastrzemski, Jim Rice, and Dwight Evans.
What's wrong with you? How come you couldn't get Dwight Evans, Fizz? You had them all.
Well, Dewey only had 372, and
I know.
I've got Ortiz with 423.
I didn't think that Dewey was in there. Escobar, nice job. He's got a couple of hits. Another multi-hit game for Esky. Good to see him come on.
Escobar knocks it foul.
All right, you know, we talk about this guy's defense and how he wins games for the Royals on defense. Watch this arm. Man, that's a beauty. Throws a dart. Pedroia hustling hard always. He gets at it, and that's a backhand play. He is nails, but they need his bat.
Nine hits in his last 5 games. And that is a great sign because he struggled on the road trip offensively. Defensively, he was terrific. Again, they continue to pound him inside. They're tired of going away with breaking balls, Hud, and having him flip them into right field.
Yeah, you know what? Escobar says, you know what, I can't pull the ball, but I prefer to lob one out there in the right field. And Shane Victorino, he's waiting on it. He's way shallow.
He goes to right field. Victorino has it played near the line, 1 out.
Backed him up.
Well, there's an update from the Bronx. The Yankees had a 3-1 lead in the 9th inning. Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer of all time, and he throws a cut fastball that Miguel Cabrera fouls off his knee. Looks like he's injured, but he gets up, shakes it off, and then hits a 2-run home run to tie the game. Are you kidding me?
It's unbelievable. Dead center.
Detroit going for their 13th straight win. Breaking ball in there to Kataris. George is 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Royals only have 3 walks, and 2 of them George has. Oh my, that looked like it skipped right off the face or hand of Dustin Pedroia, whose hand, oh man, he might be hurt a little bit.
Well, Napoli, he got a piece of it, and both guys were going for it. You can't hurt Pedroia, though. That guy, he's some kind of strong. Anyway, looked like it did hit him in the face, but I think it did catch a piece of his hand. Kataris will get him a knock.
Yeah, you're right, it was his hand. First, when I saw it.
Yeah, Napoli's glove got stuck. He couldn't get it out from under him. Tell you what, the Red Sox, they're going for it.
Now Miguel Tejada, the number 9 spot, trying to join this hit parade. The Royals with 9 runs on 14 hits. Ball 1. I'm sure Pedro Beato used to enjoy watching Miguel Tejada tear it up with the Oakland A's, the Baltimore Orioles, when he was growing up in the Dominican Republic. Now he gets to pitch to him, and he delivers a fastball low and away that's fouled off. Tejada, the 2002 American League MVP.
Did you hear the crowd when Miguel Tejada came out of the dugout to pinch hit in the 6th inning?
Educated fans.
I'm telling you,
they roared as soon as they saw number 24 emerge from the dugout. Center field. Ellsbury will run that down. But Rex, I think it's a testament to how fans respect hustle. He plays the game the right way, and they see that.
No, I totally agree with you. But Fizz, when you go one speed, you're showing respect to the game, number 1, and the paying fan, number 2. And that's the way it should be. And when you play the game like that, you can be a great player like Miguel Tejada, or you can be a newcomer like David Lowe. They love that type of hustle and that type of play.
I'm sure there's a lot of moms and dads out there 39 years of age going, wow, look at that guy play. Fans, you can vote for the Royals Player of the Month, sponsored by Majestic and Rally House. Vote at Rally House stores and get a chance to go on field and meet the winning player. Beato floats that breaking ball in there. David has had a good game. Knocked in a run with a single in the 2nd. Knocked in another run in the 6th with a sacrifice fly, which may be the key moment in this game, because the Royals did not have the lead yet. that sacrifice fly cut it to 6-5. But it was a weird play because at first Moustakas, who was at third, thought the ball might get down, and as it was tailing away from Victorino, he did make the catch. Moose had to go back to the bag, tag, and then come home. The throw was offline, and the tag barely missed Moose, who scored the 5th run. Lowe swings and misses. He goes down. We head to the 8th inning here at the K. The Royals lead Boston 9-6. Is brought to you by Farmland Foods and their Bacon a Difference charity concert featuring the Eli Young Band on October 3rd. Go to baconadifference.com. Check that out, baconadifference.com. It is a very interesting website. You can find out all the work they do. And here in Kansas City, man, we've got some great fans, and they're enjoying this game. Just came off the range. And he gets a chance to see Tim Collins come out of the bullpen to pitch in his 50th game.
Wade Collins has been throwing that curveball. If it's on again tonight, won't be a whole lot of hitting. That's a beautiful breaking ball when it's working down in the zone. Straight changeup, good mid-90s fastball if he spots it well. Ned Yost has plenty of options for his 8th inning guy for his setup. He doesn't go with just one guy. He'll use Crow at times. He'll use Holland. Or excuse me. He'll use Collins. Sometimes Hochevar. Herrera. He's got options. When you got great arms in that bullpen like that, you can mix and match, and that's exactly what Ned does. Of course, it's all designed to get it to Holland.
Well, Tim entered with 1 away in the 6th on Wednesday, and KC leading Minnesota 4-2. He worked into the 7th and recording 3 outs, all of them strikeouts on pitches like that. So he struck out Arcia, then Cleet Thomas, then in the next inning did a great job there, striking out Pedro Florimon before he was taken out for Aaron Crow. Faced 3, struck out 3.
It's all about getting it to Holland, okay? Hochevar said, you know what? We got some beards out there, okay? Every one of them are designed on this T-shirt, okay? Get it to this guy. Why? Because he'll get the save for you. Believe it, Fizz.
He is stretching right now. Rather impressive.
Says he does that so he doesn't have to throw as many pitches to warm up.
Ellsbury has been on once. That was a single in the 2nd. Collins' goal, I'm sure, is to make sure the tying runs aren't on when David Ortiz comes up. As they say in Boston, Ortiz has been wicked hot. 11 hits in his last 16 at bats. Quite a duel between Tim Collins and Jacoby Ellsbury. Lined out, singled, grounded out twice. Came in at 300 with 7 home runs. More importantly, 71 runs scored. Wow, this is quite a duel. He will see 10 pitches at least from Tim. The Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays see more pitches than any other American League team. Royals won last night 5-1. Bruce Chen confounded the Red Sox offense for 7 2/3 innings. Tonight the starters were Santana and Peavy. Santana with his shortest outing of the year, just 3 2/3 innings, and allowed all 6 Boston runs. He walked him.
Well, that's a beautiful at-bat. Excuse me, plate appearance. His walks don't count as an at-bat.
11 pitches he forced Collins to throw. And now Shane Victorino, who is 1 for 8 after an incredible stretch that he had his previous 9 games, hitting .405. Ball 1. You have the lefty Ellsbury to start this inning, then back-to-back right-handers in Victorino and Pedroia, and then back to the left side in Ortiz.
Okay, Collins, he has the weapons to get through this. Way to make Ellsbury stop. And you know what, Ellsbury, his run don't mean much. So just concentrate it on that hitter. And you know, you get through the teeth of the order here in this inning. Holland doesn't have to see him in the next inning.
Three straight have missed after an 11-pitch at bat with Jacoby Ellsbury, and George Kottaras going out to say, man, we've got to be aggressive. We cannot make it easy on Boston by walking them. And Aaron Crow is hurrying to get ready. So back-to-back walks to Ellsbury and Victorino, and Dave Island's going to go out for not only a visit but also to allow Aaron Crow to warm up in a hurry. I mean, this has been an incredible comeback by Kansas City when the Royals trailed 6-3 going into the bottom of the 6th inning. Then they roared out and scored 6 times to take a 9-6 lead. But the bullpen, which has been rock solid of late, now has allowed 2 walks in the 8th inning. And a tough batter's coming up in Dustin Pedroia. He was the American League Most Valuable Player back in 2008.
Okay, Ned, he's got a decision to make here. Now, Crow probably is ready to come in. But I think Ned's going to just trust Collins here to see if he can wiggle his way through it. There's nobody out.
Particularly with Ortiz next, the left-hander. Pedroia has hit into 15 double plays, but Collins more of a fly ball pitcher than he is a ground ball pitcher. Strike one.
Pedroia 0 for 1 in his career facing Collins. Only one time.
Rex, you mentioned it earlier, but it bears repeating. Kansas City pitching the last 16 games, the opposing batting average with runners in scoring position 162. Now they did have some hiccups in this game. All 6 runs scored by Boston came with 2 out.
Yeah, Pedroia, he really charges hard. I mean, he goes right, he steps right to the pitcher, and he's got a lot of momentum coming forward. Maybe the straight changeup's a pitch he can get him on. He stays away with it. This is really charging at him. Ooh, he hooked it.
Missed inside at 74 miles an hour, evening the count at 2-2.
He's got to get this hitter here. You can't give the bases loaded to Big Papi. Staying with the hook.
They are tough to get out. Ellsbury fouled off so many tough pitches. Now it is Pedroia doing the same.
You know, these guys, they expect to win. They're the Red Sox. Now last year it was kind of a fluke year for them. You know, things just didn't work out. But Pedroia, Ortiz, they've had 2 world championships, and these guys expect to win. So, you know, this is what you get out of winning players. They grind you out. They grind at bats.
To Moose. There's 1. There's 2.
Boy, that's heads up. Moose thought about going to first, and he goes, why would I go to first when I can keep that guy out of scoring position? Nice defense and big pick-me-up right there. I'll say, now Moose, he had to travel. He ran 4 steps over. He thought about going to first base, but this was a very wise decision. Tejada points at him and says, that's right. And a few more words.
They go from runners in first and second with nobody out to a man on first and 2 out.
Oh, that's huge. What a pick-me-up. That's pennant race baseball right there.
You got that
that's
right.
A play right there that these guys are going to build off of. Pressure situations, they're learning every day, but they believe now that they can win. And when they come to the park, it's that way. So it's interesting to see these young Royals grow up right before our eyes, pitch to pitch.
If he can get this guy, Holland won't have to face him. One and 2. Did he take a mighty rip or what?
Boy, if he strikes him out, this place is going to come down. Look at him.
Popped him up. Moustakas. Why not?
us around the league. Detroit and New York going to extra innings after Miguel Cabrera with a home run against Mariano Rivera. LA beats Cleveland 5-2, fifth straight loss for the Indians. Doubleheader for Minnesota and Chicago. Morneau, a pair of homers, including a grand slam. Oakland, got to keep our eye on them because they're in the NL or the AL West race and wild card. Josh Reddick, 3 homers. Texas involved in that race. They are up 7-4, and then in the nightcap, Minnesota right now leading 3-2. Josh Willingham, the homer, he is off the DL. All kinds of baseball to keep an eye on, and oh, by the way, this is pretty fun here.
Is it ever? I mean, the Royals are certainly taking care of their business. They trailed 6-3 going to the bottom of the 6th and scored 6 runs. And here is Craig Breslow. Breslow, a 6'1" lefty. It is his birthday just yesterday. Turned 33. He's out of Trumbull, Connecticut.
86-91. Cut fastball, curve, and a change.
Pretty good first 2 pitches to Eric Hosmer. Hos tonight is 2 for 4.
Another multi-hit game? What new?
42 now. That's tied with Torrey Hunter for 3rd, depending on what Hunter did. And Hosmer, all he does with 2 strikes, rip 1 to left.
Feels he laced that. Could have checked the stitching on that baseball, as that was a nice swing to the opposite field. Waited on it perfectly. That's an 0-2 pitch. Oh, it's hard to beat him now. He is showing why they have believed in this kid and thought he could be the straw that stirs the drink. And he's stirring.
Billy Butler ground ball second. They've got 1. They've got 2.
It's all right. Get it to Holland quicker.
So Alex Gordon will come up to face Craig Breslow. This guy, a very interesting story as we see Greg Holland, who went to West Carolina University. But the kid on the mound is one of those rare major league players who made it from Yale. And Rex, his major was molecular biophysics and biochemistry.
Okay. That's a lot of numbers to me, sounds like.
He was named the smartest man in baseball by Wall Street Journal.
Smarter than our guy Maxwell?
You know what? We're going to have them do a one of those quiz-offs. Eric Hosmer with a 3-hit game has upped his average to 298. There was a time he was down in the 230s, 240s, but man, hitting over 320 since the beginning of June. Gordon has been on twice. One time he walked, the other time he didn't stay long because he ran around the bases after his 11th home run of the season. Gordon knocks it to right. That's a base hit, his second hit, and the Royals 16th in this game.
Oh, man, that's a beautiful thing. Good top spin lob right in front of Victorino. He thought about trying to make that play, but there's no chance. Well struck.
And when you consider what took place tonight, I mean, it has been back and forth. There have been so many dramatic moments. We had a game that started what we thought would be a pitching duel. Irvin Santana against Jake Peavy, 2 pitchers who had thrown extremely well their last 3 starts. Santana only went 3 2/3, his shortest outing of the year, and gave up 6 runs. And Jake Peavy did not make it through 6. Here is Maxwell. Boy, he has had a terrific game. A home run and a pair of singles that were so important. One that started the 6th inning and also the other hit that ended the 6th inning,
Well,
6-run.
This is the reason why Dyson's not playing. Maxwell. He's
Go with
got
the hot hand.
He's got speed, not quite like Dyson like speed, but he can play center field, but he can thump. He can flat out thunder. Look at all the numbers.
3 guys with 3 hits, Hosmer, Butler, and Maxwell.
Surely Christmas. I think that would even confuse Breslow if he looked at that list of numbers.
That will allow Gordon to get to second base. The most hits he's ever had in a game, 4. Did that last August 4th at Atlanta. Well, a 3-hit game, including a home run, a couple of RBIs, not bad. Now he'll go play defense for that man. Greg Holland coming on for save number 31. Cabrera. Pop-up is dropped by Lyle Overbay. Later in the at-bat against Rivera, he hits a 2-run home run to tie the game at 3. They have gone into extra innings. It is still locked up, and he is an incredible player as he's trying to give Detroit their 13th straight win. Meantime, here the Royals just as hot, trying to win their 15th game in the last 17. And Greg Holland comes out of the bullpen.
Yeah, it's always a good thing when you can get through the Red Sox middle of the order in the 8th. You got Nava, Napoli, Drew, Saltalamacchia. Strike one, Holland will tell you every time that's his best pitch. Get it in there.
He does get strike one, and Greg worked around Joe Mauer's pinch hit single to close out a 5-2 win over Minnesota on Wednesday night. He notched his 50th career save, 30th of the year, and 23rd in a row. 4th in the American League in rescues. Did not go, and it's a 1-1 count.
Yep, mid to upper 90s fastball, depending on how hard he wants to throw it. Split finger, slider.
Right now, Rex, Holland stretch of 23 straight save conversions is 3rd in Royals history, trailing Joakim Soria, who had 36 in 2010. If he gets this save, he will tie Jeff Montgomery, who had 24 straight in 1993. So Monty knows all about that, and he'll be with us in the postgame Boulevard show. Here is a pop-up. Moustakas takes it. 1 out. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. This is when the Royals were trailing by 3.
Oh, and pass out a set of earplugs, folks, because it got loud. And it was frenzy hitting at the Royals' best. Moustakis with a great slide. Hosmer, that 2 RBI short stroke right there. And then Billy said, you know what? We're not done. We need a little extra insurance for Holland. Beautiful inning. They batted around, and the hits just kept coming.
Fans, if you're anywhere in the neighborhood tomorrow and Sunday, get to the ballpark. It is electric here. The fans have been in it from the very first pitch, and they have been very responsible to the Royals' comeback. This would be their 35th come-from-behind victory this year.
And not a body has left the place now either. Here it is, 10:34. It's beautiful here.
Great fireworks show after the ball game.
That's right. How about the weather, too? The weather's killer. I mean, it's just perfect.
Strike 2. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, Felix Doubront against Jeremy Guthrie. Sunday afternoon, John Lackey against James Shields. What do you say we pack the K?
Exactly.
Everybody dressed in blue.
Oh, man.
How about that? Greg Holland with an absolutely sensational splitter. You don't know if it's a split finger pitch or a slider, but the bottom just dropped out of this one for strike 3.
He's up on top of that. That's the slider. See that fan behind him there. That's what I'm talking about. He says you got to go that way. It's nice. These fans are really making this team feel good. And they should.
Stephen Drew takes strike 1. Holland now with 71 strikeouts in not even 45 innings.
Yep, plenty of passion to go around here.
Strike 2. Everybody up. You could hear the chants of "Let's go Royals." He struck him out. Save number 31. 24 in a row. And one of the great comebacks this year against a terrific team in the Boston Red Sox.
"35th come-from-behind win in big-time fashion. Justin Maxwell, way to go, partner. Keep that thunder throwing, and you'll find yourself in that lineup every single night." Ned giving some forearm bashes. We haven't seen that.
And there were so many ebbs and flows of this game, so many peaks and valleys. And one of the peaks, Hud, was in the 8th inning when Tim Collins was in trouble after he walked the first 2 batters. And our forward play of the game is what Moustakis did.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is a playoff play right here. You think and make a big play like that late in the game against the Red Sox, that put ice on the victory right there. Just cool it down. That's beautiful. Look at the fans. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it is, sir. I agree with you.
He said, "That's Royals baseball right there." And that young man probably at one of his first Royals games goes, "Dad, can I come back?" He's trying to do the same thing the hitters do when they get a base hit. And Joe Goldberg is with the stars of the show.
And I think there were about 7 or 8 different stars of the game tonight, if not more, joined by Eric Hosmer and Justin Maxwell. And first off, I think the crowd of nearly 30,000 thoroughly enjoyed this one. How much fun was it for you?
It was a blast. This is a fun game from start to finish, and we didn't quit. This is the character of our team and the character of our city. You guys had our back the whole entire way, and just a lot of fun, a lot of great game.
All right, take us to the 6th inning. You both had runs, you both had hits in that inning, but you're battling there, down to a couple of outs. What went right for you guys that inning, because the offense just opened up?
Just great at bats. One great at bat after another. Miggy just missed his pitch and popped it up, and he came in the dugout saying pick him up, and when a guy like that is in the game, picking him up was huge, and everyone had great at bats, and there was some big hits there, and we got it to the bullpen and got it to Greg so he can close it off.
Justin was telling me before the game that literally every game and every at bat is important right now. What is that like to be a part of it?
It's fun. It's a fun group. This guy it's been here for almost less than a week, and it seems like he's been with us the whole entire year. And it's a group that's having fun, and we're not going to quit to the end. And it's been fun.
All right, we'll let Eric Hosmer go and bring in the newest Royal, who wanted to make sure. I don't know if Eric heard you or not. It's 1 full week, so in front of 30,000 people, officially, welcome to Kansas City.
I love it here. It's a great place to play. I love it here already.
What has it been like? And keep in mind that many of your teammates have never played in postseason implication type of games either, but to go from being on a team that was not in it to suddenly being right in the middle of a race.
Well, it's just a different level of intensity in our clubhouse. The guys come to play every night, and I think it all starts with team chemistry. I can't wait to get in the clubhouse right now and party with the guys because we had a lot of fun after wins. All
right, I'll let you go in just a second, but first off, tell us about the home run.
I faced PV when he was on rehab like a few years ago, so I wasn't totally out of it against him, but I was just looking for a good pitch to hit. The guy's got amazing stuff, but I took a good swing and didn't miss it.
Enjoy the party with your new teammates, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Justin Maxwell, and I'm pretty sure that he has won the fans over in 1 short week. Fizz, Hud, let's go back upstairs to you. Fireworks coming in just a bit.
Joel, thank you very much. The Royals did not get their 60th win until September 2nd last year. They got number 60 this year on August 9th. 9-6 over the Red Sox. Holland with the save.